Dark corridors, chilling whispers, and eerie figures lurking in the shadows. Some places in this world hold secrets far beyond our understanding. From abandoned asylums to cursed castles, through the 15 most haunted places on Earth, these locations are filled with ghostly encounters, paranormal activity, and unexplained phenomena that will send chills down your spine. Are you brave enough to explore them with us? If so, let's begin. But be warned, you may not sleep soundly tonight. Number 1. The Tower of London, England. Standing for nearly 1,000 years, the Tower of London has a dark and gruesome past. It has witnessed countless executions, imprisonments, and brutal acts of torture. The most famous ghost said to haunt this historic fortress is Anne Boleyn, the second wife of Henry VIII, who was beheaded in 1536. Many visitors claim to have seen her headless apparition wandering the corridors, sometimes clutching her severed head in her hands. But Anne Boleyn isn't the only restless spirit trapped here. The ghosts of the two young princes, Edward V and Richard, who mysteriously disappeared in 1483, are also said to haunt the tower. Guards and visitors have reported seeing shadowy figures, feeling unexplained cold spots, and even hearing the faint cries of children. Would you dare to walk these halls at night? Number 2. The Catacombs of Paris, France. Beneath the streets of Paris lies a hidden world of the dead, the Catacombs of Paris. This underground cemetery contains the remains of over 6 million people, their bones neatly stacked along the walls. But beneath the surface, strange occurrences have been reported. People who have entered alone have gone missing, never to return. Those who ventured deep report hearing whispers, disembodied voices, and footsteps following them in the darkness. In 2010, a group of urban explorers found a camcorder in the catacombs. The last footage showed a man running frantically. Before dropping the camera, he was never seen again. Some say the spirits of the dead still roam these tunnels, warning visitors not to disturb their eternal rest. Number 3. The Stanley Hotel, USA. Nestled in the mountains of Colorado, the Stanley Hotel is a breathtaking yet sinister location. If it looks familiar, that's because it inspired Stephen King's novel The Shining. But what many don't realize is that the hauntings here are very real. Guests have reported ghostly laughter, objects moving on their own, and the sensation of being watched. The spirit of the hotel's founder, Freeland Oscar Stanley, is often seen in the lobby, inspecting his beloved hotel. His wife, Flora, is said to play the piano late at night, even when no one is around. The 4th floor is the most haunted, where guests hear ghostly children running through the halls, knocking on doors, and vanishing into thin air. And then there's room 117, where Stephen King himself experienced a chilling paranormal event. Would you dare spend a night here? Number 4. The Island of the Dolls, Mexico. Deep in the canals of Mexico City lies a place of nightmares, La Isla de las Muñecas, or the Island of the Dolls. The island is covered with hundreds of decaying dolls, their lifeless eyes staring into the void. According to legend, the island's caretaker, Don Julian Santana, found the body of a drowned girl in the water. Shortly after, he began finding dolls floating in the canal, as if the girl's spirit had drawn them there. To appease her restless soul, he started hanging the dolls around the island, but the dolls soon became something else. Visitors claim they see the dolls move their heads and whisper to each other. Some have even seen their eyes blink. Don Julian himself was later found drowned in the same spot where he had discovered the girl. To this day, the island remains one of the creepiest places in the world. Would you visit this island, knowing the dolls may be watching? Number 5. Poveglia Island, Italy. Just off the coast of Venice, Italy, lies Poveglia Island, one of the most haunted places in the world. This island has a dark history, once serving as a quarantine zone for plague victims. Tens of thousands of people died here, their bodies burned in mass graves. Later, in the 20th century, it became a mental asylum where cruel and unethical experiments were conducted on patients. Today, Poveglia is abandoned, but those who have dared to visit report terrifying encounters. Some hear agonizing screams, while others see shadowy figures lurking in the ruins. The most chilling tale is that of the asylum's head doctor, who was said to have been driven mad by the spirits of his tortured patients. Legend says he jumped from the bell tower to escape them, but his ghost is still trapped here, forever tormented by his own dark past. Poveglia is so terrifying that the Italian government has banned public access. But even if you could go there, would you? Number 6. Aokigahara Forest, Japan. Aokigahara, also known as the Suicide Forest, lies at the base of Mount Fuji in Japan. This hauntingly beautiful yet terrifying place has a dark reputation. For decades, it has been a site where people go to take their own lives, earning it an eerie and sorrowful atmosphere. Japanese folklore speaks of vengeful spirits that are said to roam the forest, trapping souls in eternal despair. Visitors often report unsettling experiences, whispering voices with no source, shadowy figures darting between trees, and an overwhelming sense of dread. Even compasses malfunction within the forest, adding to its mysterious nature. Hikers who have ventured too deep have described a chilling sensation of being followed, only to turn around and find nothing but endless, twisted trees. Would you dare to step inside, knowing you might never find your way out? Number 7. The Myrtles Plantation. In Louisiana, the Myrtles Plantation is known as one of the most haunted homes in America. Built in 1796, this grand estate has seen generations of tragedy, betrayal, and untimely deaths. The most famous spirit that lingers here is that of a young enslaved woman named Chloe. Legend has it that she was forced to become the mistress of the plantation owner. When caught eavesdropping, her punishment was brutal. Her ear was cut off. Seeking revenge, she poisoned a birthday cake meant for the owner's family. But instead of harming him, his wife and daughters ate it and perished. Consumed by rage, the other slaves hanged Chloe from a tree. Her spirit is said to still wander the plantation, her ghostly figure appearing in mirrors and doorways. Guests have reported hearing phantom footsteps, seeing mysterious handprints on mirrors, and witnessing furniture moving on its own. Some say the spirits of the slain children can still be heard giggling and running down the halls at night. Would you stay here overnight, knowing you might not be alone? Number 8. Bangar Fort, India. In Rajasthan, India, stands the infamous Bangar Fort, one of the most haunted places in Asia. Built in the 16th century, this fort was once a thriving town until a sinister curse doomed it to ruin. According to legend, a powerful sorcerer fell in love with a beautiful princess and attempted to use black magic to make her his. However, the princess outwitted him and caused his death. But before he perished, he placed a curse upon the fort, dooming it to destruction. Soon after, war and famine struck Bangar, and the once flourishing town was abandoned. To this day, it remains eerily silent, and the Indian government has forbidden entry after sunset. Locals and visitors alike have reported hearing blood-curdling screams, whispers in the wind, and shadowy figures lurking in the ruins. Those who have defied the warnings and stayed overnight have mysteriously disappeared. Would you dare to test the legend and step inside after dark? Number 9. Château de Brissac, France. Deep in the Loire Valley of France stands the stunning Château de Brissac. But behind its magnificent walls lies a chilling secret. In the 15th century, Charlotte de Breze, the wife of the castle's owner, was caught having an affair. In a fit of rage, her husband murdered her in cold blood within the castle walls. Since then, her spirit, known as the Green Lady, has been trapped here. Visitors and residents of the castle have reported terrifying encounters, phantom wails echoing through the halls at night, cold hands brushing against their skin, and a horrifying apparition of a woman in a green dress with hollow eyes and a ghastly, disfigured face. Even centuries later, her restless spirit refuses to leave. Would you dare to walk through the halls where she still roams? Number 10. Eastern State Penitentiary, USA. Once a place of unimaginable suffering, Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia is now one of the most haunted prisons in the world. Built in the 1800s, This prison was infamous for its cruel punishments and extreme isolation techniques. Inmates were often kept in solitary confinement for months or even years, driving many to madness. Death, violence, and despair seeped into the very walls of this place. Visitors today report hearing ghostly whispers, disembodied footsteps, and chilling screams echoing through the empty halls. The most haunted cell block is said to be Cell Block 12, where shadowy figures have been spotted. Even hardened paranormal investigators refuse to spend the night alone in this prison. Could you handle the ghostly presence that lurks here? Number 11. Hoia Baciu Forest, Romania. Deep in the heart of Transylvania lies Hoia Baciu Forest, often called the Bermuda Triangle of Romania. This dense woodland is infamous for unexplained paranormal activity, bizarre disappearances, and terrifying ghostly encounters. The forest gained worldwide attention when a military technician captured a photograph of a disc-shaped UFO hovering above the trees in the 1960s. Since then, visitors have reported intense feelings of dread, electronic devices malfunctioning, and even strange physical symptoms like nausea and rashes. The most mysterious part of the forest is a perfectly circular clearing where no vegetation grows, despite scientists finding no logical explanation. Some say it's a portal to another dimension, while others believe it's cursed. Legends tell of villagers who entered the forest and were never seen again. Would you dare to step inside and see what secrets the forest holds? Number 12. The Ancient Ram in England. In the quiet village of Watton under Edge, England, stands the Ancient Ram in one of the most haunted buildings in the country. Built in 1145, this inn has a dark past linked to witchcraft, pagan rituals, and even human sacrifices. It is believed to be located on an ancient pagan burial ground, and the spirits of those laid to rest here are said to be restless. Guests who have stayed at the inn report horrifying experiences being pushed by unseen hands, hearing disembodied screams, and even waking up to see a shadowy figure standing over them. The most infamous entity is the Witch's Room, where a woman accused of witchcraft was burned alive. Even hardened paranormal investigators have fled in terror. Would you spend the night in this ancient, ghost-infested inn? Number 13. The Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel, Canada. Nestled in the heart of the Canadian Rockies, the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel is a luxurious retreat with a dark side. Built in 1888, this grand hotel has hosted guests from around the world, but some of them never left. Among the many ghostly encounters reported here, the most famous is the Ghost Bride. According to legend, a young woman fell to her death on her wedding day after tripping on the grand staircase. Guests and staff have since reported seeing her ghostly figure, still in her wedding dress, wandering the halls in sorrow. Another eerie presence is the spirit of a former bellman named Sam Macaulay. Even after his death, guests still claim to see a friendly old man in a vintage uniform assisting them, only for him to vanish moments later. If you check into this historic hotel, you may find that some of its guests never checked out. Number 14. The Screaming Tunnel, Canada. Beneath an old railway line in Ontario, Canada, lies the infamous Screaming Tunnel. The small but terrifying passageway is known for its chilling legend. According to local folklore, over a century ago, a young girl was set on fire inside the tunnel. Her spirit is said to remain there, forever reliving her tragic end. They say that if you stand in the middle of the tunnel at midnight and light a match, an ear-piercing scream will echo through the darkness, and the flame will suddenly go out. Some who have attempted this have run out in terror, claiming they felt an unseen force push them. Do you believe in the legend, or would you be brave enough to test it yourself? Number 15. The Villisca Axe Murder House, USA. In the small town of Villisca, Iowa, stands a simple white house with a history so gruesome that it remains one of the most haunted places in America. On the night of June 10, 1912, an unknown assailant brutally murdered 8 people, including 6 children, with an axe. The crime remains unsolved, and many believe the spirits of the victims never left. Visitors and paranormal investigators have reported hearing children's laughter, whispers in empty rooms, and even the sound of phantom footsteps creeping through the house. Some have claimed to see shadowy figures standing at the foot of their beds. Those who have dared to spend the night often leave before dawn, too terrified to stay any longer. Would you be brave enough to step inside, knowing the spirits of the victims may still be waiting? These were some of the most haunted places in the world, each with its own terrifying history and lingering spirits. Would you dare to visit any of them? Have you ever experienced something paranormal? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more chilling stories. Until next time, stay safe and beware of the unknown.